Welcome back to the Straw Hat Duo. Today we're going to find out about a new faction in One Piece world this late in the game. Today we're actually going over chapter 1083, titled The Truth of That Day. Cover page story is, ironically, Doflamingo caring for a fallen chick, making a nest with his coat. Something that would never happen. It's a fan request. This chapter, which I'm going to go over as fast as possible because I am very late with this. This chapter is going over a recap of things that Sabo aimed to complete, or the revolutionaries aimed to complete in Marijois, and Sabo pretty much telling Dragon and Ivankov about it. Straight out says, all three objectives were taken care of. We officially declared war by destroying the Celestial Dragon symbol, rescued Kuma, and freed as many slaves as possible. Those are the three things they went to do. They also managed to, I guess that's two, because Kuma was considered a slave. The last thing that they did was they managed to find and destroy the Holy Land's food reserves. That's a really crazy war tactic that I don't think we've really seen since Drum Kingdom. Drum Kingdom is probably the closest I could see with that, with Wapol taking all the doctors himself. It's a similar war tactic as him. I know Sabo and Wapol completely different, but connections there. She goes, we managed to take that out, and the Navy ended up sending the big guns. Dragon goes on to say, and meanwhile, we managed to trigger uprisings in 12 nations that they had strong influence in, only 8 of which were successful. 8 more kingdoms backing the revolutionaries. Good news. Headlines censored anything to do with that, but the 7 others have all declared their intent to no longer pay celestial tribute, but the one island, one of them vanished right off the face of the earth. Kingdom of Lulusia. Ivankov goes on his little thing, but Dragon is the one who actually introduces this new faction. There's a lot speculating around this new faction, mainly because the guy in the middle looks a lot like Shanks. People are thinking, oh, well, maybe it's Shanks' brother. Maybe that's who met with the Gorosei. It's not actually Shanks. And the thing is, we don't know the truth of how Shanks was born or his parents or anything like that. So, sure, all of those theories are possible. There's nothing saying otherwise. We have no proof for or against it. Who knows? It could also just be that, it's Shanks, and guess what? He's going to be the final villain. I mean, who knows? But they're called the God's Knights, and I believe it's 9 of them. I'm not 100% sure. There's only 8 shown here, I believe. Ivankov mentions the fact that, Sabo, you're going to be number 1 target, and makes a little poking fun at him, saying, oh, or should I call you Flame Emperor Boy? Sabo's like, yeah, I'm not too hot on that name. Another little pun on words there. Dragon's like, yeah, doesn't matter. What's the truth behind Cobra's assassination? The news reports made you look like a hero already, but in the eyes of revolutionaries everywhere, but authority figures within the world government are hated for being subhuman monsters. Cobra was not one of them, but, that's what the kingdoms are going to look at. He killed a king that was a jerk. Sabo, they're all like, Cobra wasn't that kind of person. He was in a class of his own, and he was actually a really good dude. Then Sabo just kind of goes into what happened with it. He goes, what really happened, and cuts to a flashback at this point. Over a month ago, at the home of the gods in Marijois, it shows them attacking, celestial dragons running, general warscape. Somehow, Crow Dude got the keys. Well, we will figure that out next chapter. He unlocks slave pirates and has the crows go, okay, escape east of the city, and the pirates all run, take off. The Crow Dude starts getting shot at, but pretty much teleports and then attacks all of them, Karasu. And then we see Lindbergh take out a handful of people before Blind Gravity Dude, Admiral, shows up and attacks. And then it shows Morley fighting, I don't remember his name either, Tree Dude, Tree Admiral, Green Bull. We see Morley fighting him, and Morley is like, oh boy, oh my, this boy sure likes to play rough. Fujitora, blind Gravity Admiral, sits there and starts to try and call it a meteor strike on Marijois. They stop him, and pretty much they get away. Then we cut over to Sabo, and he's running through the hallway, and then we see Bonnie running through the hallway as well. Terahoshi is also shown there, and Charlos and Kuma is shown. We see Leopard CP0 guy, Lucci. We see Lucci talking to Vivi there. Vivi's like, buzz off. Can't you buzz off? I'd rather have Vice Admiral Garp's help. Lucci's like, don't worry, we'll protect you. And she's like, yeah, like you protected Shirahoshi. Oh, wait, you didn't. And that creep's definitely going to target her again. Then we cut over to Cobra, who is looking for an audience with the Gorosei. Hell and other dude right behind him. But the guard looks at him and says, I'm afraid only Cobra's been permitted access with the 5 elders. And Chaka. Cobra's like, Chaka, pal, this won't take long. And it would be tedious for you to wait outside. Be much better if you would make use of your time by looking after Vivi. She's always been a mischievous one. Can't let her out of your sight for a second. Cobra sitting in there in the wheelchair, going for a meeting for the 5 elders. That is how this chapter ends. We know how Cobra's story ends with that, and it's him getting killed. So, in the next video, which will be a little bit more detailed than this one, we'll go over what happens in chapter 1084. And I'd say that one's probably a little bit more interesting too. The biggest thing that came out of this one was the God's Knights, whatever they're called, that new faction, the Holy Knights, So that'll be an interesting new faction. It'll be interesting to see if they're actually strong or if they're all hype and nothing behind them. Time will tell. But for now, we'll see you in the next one.